This is a real estate media business that needed some serious help, and on this video I'm going to show you exactly what we did to make this business better. Now I've changed a couple of the things so you can't figure out whose business this is, but this is really common among a lot of real estate photo businesses. So if you're in the 10 to 20K range or even more than that, this video is absolutely for you to help you improve your business, at least give you some insight onto the levers that you can pull that will help you improve your business. And if you're less than that, it will show you how to build a better business in the first place. So I'm going to break this down step by step, the exact things we did, the changes it made in the business, everything like that. So this business had approximately $20,000 per month in revenue, and they were only making about $8,000 per month in profit, which is a 40% profit margin. Now, on a business of $20,000 a month, this is way too low. Like this should be more in the range of 60 to 70% if you want to have a healthy business. Their average order value was $217. Means they were doing about 92 shoots per month. You can do the math on that. It's like a little bit more than 20 shoots per week. They had 2 contract photographers when they needed extra help, and they were doing a majority of the shooting themselves still. And one of their biggest complaints were they have no time. They actually wanted to hire an admin, which I think is a terrible move with this size business. I'll talk more about that in a second. So, all right, here's where we're at. Currently making 40% or about $8,000 per month. Without any revenue increase, a $20,000 per month real estate media business should be making about 70% profit or $14,000 per month. So you can see we're a big difference apart here with the same size business. This is a stressful business that has no free time, not a lot of profits, very hard to scale. And there's a quote I really like, which I want you to think about, especially if you haven't scaled your real estate media business yet. Or if you're in the process of scaling, it's a mistake that I fell into that if I could go back, I would think much differently. So as real estate media companies, we always think about our top line, how much money we brought in from like the top line perspective, right? How much revenue? Oh, I did $50,000 this month. But the quote I like is revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. I have no idea where that comes from, but it's very, very true. And so a lot of our focus as real estate media business owners is on this number, but it's really just a vanity number. It doesn't tell you anything. Whereas profit is what gives you sanity in your business. Profit is literally the health indicator of your business. So for example, if you have a business that's doing, let's call it 50K a month, and you're making in profit 3K, and you have a business that's making 25K in revenue, and making 15K a month in profit, like which business do you want, right? You're not gonna pick this one, or most people aren't. I mean, I'd like the challenge because if I fixed it, I could probably get more than this out of it. But you don't wanna build this business. You'd rather build this one and then double it. You're gonna lose a little profit, but you get the point. And so when people talk about their business, they talk about this number, but if you had to make them make a choice about their business, they're always gonna pick the profit number. And so just remember that as you're scaling. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. Profit is a lot of things too. It's peace, it's scalability. It's a lot of things that you need if you want to grow a good business that doesn't just suck. And a lot of times real estate media businesses can suck because people build them wrong. I did it, mine sucked, so you're not alone. Anyway, here's what we changed. There's 5 things. I'm going to break down exactly what we changed, as much detail as I can in this video, and the impact in the business. So first change was a cost related change. Obviously 40% profit, cost is out of control. So we got to figure out what's going on. So first thing was we dropped editing from 90 cents an image to 70 cents an image. This person thought that they needed to pay a more expensive editor because they needed a certain look in their images, and they thought their clients really liked that look. And there's 2 things we found out. 1, the clients didn't care too much, but 2, you can get the same look, same good quality images, and save more than 20% right there. And so we dropped them to 70 cents. Now, you could probably get this down to the 60-cent range, but they were very quality focused, and that's okay. You don't have to do all of this. You can still build a business that you like, right? I think they probably could have saved a little more. Either way, doesn't really matter. Here's the bigger one though. I mean, that's a big one. It's more than 20% savings on editing costs. But we took their average from 48 images per shoot delivered. So it means regardless of what package was ordered, this person was averaging 48 delivered images. So even with 25, 40 photo packages, delivering way too many on average. Drop that to 40 images per shoot, which means about 30 for a 25 photo package and about 45 for a 40 photo package. So we're still over delivering by 5 photos, but we dropped it down 8 images per shoot. That's a big change. That's 8 times 70 cents, or really it was times 90 cents per shoot. And so what this person was doing is they were overshooting. We'll talk more about that in a minute. You can overshoot. It's oversending is the problem, right? Overshooting is bad, but oversending is worse. So they were sending too many photos to the editor because they didn't want to spend too much time narrowing them down. And that meant they were overpaying. So here's what this looked like. They were, before these 2 changes, spending about $4,000 a month on image editing. a $20,000 a month business, it's almost a quarter of your money, not even profit. It's a quarter of your money that the business is bringing in was going to editing. Dropped it down to $2,500, which is a $1,400 monthly savings. So here's where we're at in the business. Now, these changes all happen simultaneously or around the same time. And so I broke it down per, but what this means is we went from 20K revenue, we're still at 20K revenue. Now our expenses are not 12,000 anymore. They're 10,602, which means our margin is up 7%. So we're 7% up on the margin here. It's already looking a lot better. We raised our monthly income to $9,300 a month or something like that. All right, change number 2, another pretty decent one. Their average order value is pretty low. You may have caught that initially when we talked about it. Their average order value was 217, meaning they're doing 92 shoots a month. And so the change here was a bunch of little things that resulted in a pretty significant, almost $50 average order value increase. So what those things were: repackaging, looking at what was being ordered by their clients, putting those into the packages. A lot of times people already have packages, and so we didn't create the packages, we repackaged, right? Got more clients to order online. There's a lot of things you can do for that. There's post-shoot Zoom calls you can do. You can send texts that encourage them to do that. We're not forcing people to order online. We're just trying to increase the amount, the percentage that order online. The reason for that is what we found is when people order online, they spend $100 more per shoot on average. On average, right? Not every business will be this exact number, but you get more money when your clients order online because they see more of what you have to offer and they're more likely to pick a package, more likely to add on stuff, right? So we think as real estate media business owners that our clients know all about our products, right? And they just don't. And so showing them is a good way to get them to order. So anyway, $100 average order value increase. Now, not everybody's ordering online, right? So it's still only a small percentage more, but it's still good. We changed some prices, but the main thing was these 2 things: just repackaging, putting stuff that makes you a lot of money but doesn't cost a lot in your packages, floor plans, that sort of thing. So here's the change. Average order value from 217 to 266. That's a big jump right there. So what happened here is the net increase was $3,698 in profit every month because of that order value increase. But we did have a cost increase as well of $774 a month because in order to service all this extra product, there's more editing costs, stuff like that, right? Again, we try to be strategic about what packages or what we're adding, but that resulted in this. So now our revenue is up to $24,472. Expenses creeped up a little bit to $11,376, but our margin, most importantly, has improved from 47% to 53.5%, a 6.5% increase right there. All right, a couple of non-monetary changes. There's another monetary one you're gonna like coming in a second, but you'll notice up here, there's a couple things going on. So they had 2 contract photographers. Most importantly, they said no time, they wanted to hire an admin. And I said, this is a bad decision. I don't recommend hiring an admin till like 40 or 50K a month. That's for another video, but they were about to make that mistake because they had no time. They thought the admin was what they needed to get the time back so they could shoot more. But admin's too important of a role to delegate that early on, in my opinion. It's too expensive too. So scheduling changes. Put auto scheduling in place and made it good. Some people have it in place, but it's not very efficient. They don't use it properly. It's scary if you haven't done it, but obviously, once you've done it, it's awesome. And so there's a way to do that right. Efficient region-based scheduling. So what was happening is a lot of people, they don't really schedule super efficiently. And what ends up happening is they're going to shoot far north, they're doing a shoot south, they're doing a shoot far north, because every time someone calls, they're like, yeah, I have that time available. So we did region-based scheduling, which is not always perfect, but the idea is that you have a couple days a week dedicated to one region, a couple days a week dedicated to the other region, and unless it's an issue for a client, you don't try not to break that rule. So it's less driving, right? And then we determine slots ahead of time. So sometimes you'll have a client that calls, they're like, I want to do 3:30. You're like, I have 3:30, perfect. But your last shoot ended at 2. So you just gave yourself an extra buffer that you can't go home, but you're not getting paid for. And so what we would say is, hey, we're gonna have slots at 10, 1, 3, whatever the times are. And so when this client says 3:30, you say, I don't have 3:30, but I can do 3. Does that work for you? And they're like, yes. You just save 30 minutes just by asking a simple question. Now, again, you can always accommodate your clients if they push back and they're like, no, I need 3:30. Then you gotta make a judgment call. But what we're trying to do is make most of our shoots better. You don't have to change everything. You just got to increase, right? So there's no technically monetary change here. It's at least measurable. I mean, I would argue there's like less fuel spent. You're not, if you're sitting there for 30 minutes, you're more likely to go eat, right? And other stuff like that. And probably not good for your health either. Anyway, I ate a lot of Quick Trip when I was out shooting and it wasn't good for me. And I wasn't hungry, I was bored. Anyway, so no money change, but technically the dollars per hour went up because we're working less time and making the same amount of money. Number 4, post-shoot workflow. This is a huge one, and it kind of ties in what we talked about at the start, is this person was overshooting, so they're spending a ton of time trying to figure out things, put things in walkthrough order, and we went like that. From 2 hours every night to 30 minutes max, because we leave the shoot with what we're gonna deliver, we cull on site, we drag and drop to our editors and do nothing else, right? Maybe you have to upload something specifically or make a special note, but for the most part, we're able to drop that time down and just drag and drop from the SD card right to our editors. That doesn't sound possible. It is. You just need to think of ways to do it. You just have to do editing on site, or culling on site rather, and then you have your editors organize them in walkthrough order. So that's number 4. Obviously, that's a huge change right there. That's 90 minutes a day in savings every day, right? Maybe some days there's less shoots, so it takes shorter, but the thing that's interesting is this person was doing the process for all of their contractors, like editing, so it was just crazy amount of time. Anyway, all right, this is a big one. The photographer structure was changed. So they had contractors doing about 40 of their 92 shoots per month, and they were paying those contractors 50% of the revenue from the shoot. Okay, so half the shoot was gone immediately. What they were left with, that other half had to pay them, the editors, everything else, all the office expenses, right? So it was costing $4,340 a month in contractor costs. Not only, and don't quote me on this, go do your own research, but I've not found a legal use case for contractors where the IRS, they don't audit everybody every year, right? But if they did, they could say, well, those weren't really contractors because you didn't follow the list of things that would make the difference between a contractor and employee. So a lot of people go lazy and they hire a contractor, but it's kind of risky. Could catch up to you and you could owe a bunch of taxes and penalties and stuff. So anyway, we changed it from contractors to a W-2 part-time model, still doing the same 40 approximate shoots per month. Obviously it fluctuates month per month, but we changed it to $30 an hour plus mileage. And that resulted in a net cost of the business of $2,490 a month, which means we just got back almost $2,000 a month that we were spending on contractors. And the whole reason that this person did contractors in the first place is because they thought it was easier and they took the lazy route. And so they overpaid because these people already had camera gear, businesses, everything like that. These people wanted to make money, and so they're not going to work for an hourly rate. They hired lazy, so they hired the wrong person. What you have to do is you want to find someone that has a super flexible part-time schedule. Maybe they work another job, and you want to pay them good, and you're going to train them. That's the key. Sounds hard, it's really not. So anyway, here's where we're at now. $24,472 in revenue, $9,526 in expenses with the new savings, and we're up to a 61% margin, which is great, or starting to be great, right? There's little more things you can do, but that's awesome, especially given that we're over 20K. So under 20K, I'd want to be more around 70, but we're increasing revenue. More of our shoots are having to go to photographers because they're longer shoots, right? We got the time back, so we didn't have to pay them for more. But that's a big increase. So here's what that resulted in for the business. Before we had 20K revenue, 40% margins. They're making $20,000 a month and only taking home $8,000 a month before taxes, right? They had no time, or quote unquote, that really should be in quotes, because people say they have no time, they just don't put time in the right areas. They don't use time properly. They almost made the admin mistake. What happened instead? $24,472 in revenue, a 61% margin. They're now taking home $946 in profit. Obviously, it fluctuates month to month, right? But you get the idea. They make more money per hour they work. So their business is more scalable. The dollars per hour that them and their team are earning makes sense. You can actually scale this business because you have some margin to give up. When you scale, this number is going to go down, right? This is going to go back down to 50, but hopefully the profit goes from 14,000 to 19,000 or something like that, right? So this number goes down as you scale, this number goes up, but if you don't start with a big enough number here, this goes to 0 before you can scale enough to get that number up. So it's a crazy thing a lot of real estate photographers get into. And here's the result, an 86% net income rate. That's like your boss giving you an 80, almost doubling your pay, right? So we're now making $6,946 more in this month with the same revenue, right? $6,900 or $83,000 more in annual income. That is crazy. Not only is that a big difference that you probably want to put in your pocket, but this is what you use to scale your business. Otherwise, it's like we're taking a huge chunk of your business out before you start. It's very, very hard to scale. And so that is the overview of scaling a business with these problems. Now, every business obviously has their own problems, and there's a lot that goes into each of these because there's emotional reasons you don't want to change this. You're worried about it, and there are reasons to be worried. You can mess up your business trying to fix it, right? But if you do things right, you don't have to get stuck where a lot of photographers get stuck in this quote unquote big business that feels out of control. It's not peaceful. It doesn't have to be that way. And so I hope this gives you some insight into what you can fix in your business. If you want us to look through your business and help you create a roadmap like this, we can do it with you in coaching, or we can at least talk to you about what it would look like. So there's a link below. You can talk with my team, and that's what these calls are for, is to go, hey, where's your business at? Where should it be? What are some steps we can do? And then help you execute those steps so you can have a peaceful business that doesn't suck. It's work to do this. This is a hell of a lot more work. And so I choose this work every time, because to me, this is why I started a business, not this. Hope you got some value from this video. Book a call if you messed up your business a little bit. I messed up mine. It's not you don't have to have shame in it. You just got to fix it. So anyway, grab a call with my team below. I'll see you in the next one.